Fargo's Souls just got one of its biggest updates yet, shifting SANDS. It's got reworks, it's got reworks, it's got reworks, and a whole new boss. There's a lot to get through, so here's a horde of cool things to look out for in the 1.7 update. And now for the subliminal messaging. Subliminal messaging complete. It would be a crime to not lead this video with the lad himself. Added Cursed Coffin, a post-Eye of Cthulhu boss found in the underground desert. If you see this ominous message, you know you're in the right place. It's fought in a small room, and it's the Challenger variant of the Champion of Spirit, like how Banished Baron is the Challenger variant of Champion of Will. In terms of drops, Coffin gives you a Summoner Multi-Whip, Nakaka, the melee rock-throwing Sisyphean Gauntlet, the Gilded Scepter, which lets you draw fun circles, the Charge-Up Spirit Longbow, and the Accursed Ankh, letting you fast-track debuffs in exchange for defense. And now, the rest of the update. Reworked Lifelight. There's a lot of familiar elements from its previous iterations, but this time it's been pulled together to make an overall more cohesive fight. Reworked the Twins fight. Previously they acted very similar to their vanilla counterpart, but now they actually work together and require different evasion tactics. In general, very solid and a very welcome rework. Also, their beam attack looks and sounds way cooler. Gave Brain of Cthulhu a slight overhaul to improve intuitiveness and make the whole confusion mechanic a bit easier to deal with. Gave Eater of Wilds a new circling attack to spice things up a tad. The worm needed some love. Reworked Queen Slime's minions a little, they now play a more engaging role in the fight. Overhauled Plantera's Phase 3. It no longer glues itself to the ceiling, and it has tweaks to most of its attack roster, and has gained a neat little vine stab attack. Bosses are done, now for the ridiculously huge segment, accessories. Majorly decluttered post Moonlord, visually and mechanically. If you played the mod before, you know you kinda have to turn off a lot of effects to be able to see things, but now it's been addressed. A lot. What you're seeing here is a mutant fight with every accessory effect on my build turned on, just to show how much better it is. As a comparison, my computer couldn't handle this before 1.7. This also includes a rework to every single Force accessory, which are, albeit roughly, as follows. Reworked Force of Timber. Its main effects now revolve around enemies being within an aura, inflicting a few debuffs and making you fire snowballs and acorns. It also buffs hooks and incorporates the mechanics of the reworked Pearlwood Enchantment. Reworked Force of Earth, tying most of its functions to a charge mechanic. Not attacking builds up charge, which boosts life regen and damage reduction. When you release your charge by attacking, your attack speed is greatly increased, your projectiles split, and you inflict a powerful debuff. Also, you explode on hit. Reworked Force of Life, which now functions as wings. As its main mechanic, while flying, you spawn flowers, which provide many positive effects such as damage and melee speed boosts, defensive boosts, refreshing flight time, and bees. It also notably allows summons to crit. Reworked Force of Nature, with its primary function being similar to that of Force of Timber. Enemies within an aura have life siphoned, take increased damage, and are bombarded with leaf crystal shots and mushroom clouds. Eating a mushroom will increase the aura size and boost your damage, as per the reworked Shroomite Enchantment. Reworked Force of Spirit, only slightly. Most of its rework is comprised of tweaks to its base components, but now its Ancient's Tornado moves towards the cursor slightly, whips empower projectiles they hit, and its revive is derived from the now reworked Spectre Enchantment, and its predecessor, Fossil Enchantment. Reworked Force of Death, previously known as Shadow Force. Most of its function revolves around a powerful dash, which can be angled. Every 4 seconds, the dash can be executed as a shade dash, providing invincibility and debuffing enemies hit along the way. It also retained a lot of its component effects, like Necrograves and Ninja's projectile speed boosts. Reworked Force of Will. You are now followed by a Gladiator Spirit, which empowers you while close. Hitting enemies consistently will boost your damage, even more so when near the spirit. Other notable effects include the defensive gold shell ability of the Gold Enchantment, as well as mount buffs from Valhalla Knight Enchantment. Reworked Force of Terra. Its previous effects of firing lightning, inflicting lead poisoning, and attacks exploding have been made to proc exclusively, though occasionally, from critical hits, which are made more frequent over time thanks to the Tin Enchantment effect. Additionally, an exploding lightning bolt can be cast immediately by parrying, inherited from the Silver Enchantment. Reworked Force of Cosmos, which lets you charge up orbiting moons by attacking. Releasing the attack button launches all moons, which explode into stat boosters, similar to the Nebula armor. It also increases your movement speed and acceleration, and enhances all equipped enchantments. Reworked Soul of Terraria, now a complete conglomerate of most of the reworked Force effects. In that sense, it's the same as it was before, But since all the effects are different and more concise, this accessory is also more concise, and in general, nicer to use. Many of these forces have a few small additional effects, like Timber Force boosting bestiary progress, Nature Force inflicting frostburn and frostbite, but I summarized. In general, I can happily say the clutter is all but dead. Now, some accessory reworks that aren't forces. Reworked Meteor Enchantment. It now rains meteors on enemies hit, with a recharge period. This period is shortened faster if you're moving at high speeds. Reworked Pearlwood Enchantment. Pickups now spawn a star projectile and empower you for a few seconds, making you crit more often. Additionally, hitting enemies occasionally spawns a mana star, which synergizes with the whole pickup thing. Reworked Crystal Assassin Enchantment. Its dash now works differently, letting you go slightly diagonal, and allowing you to do this cute little bounce thing when you jump off the ground. Reworked Shroomite Enchantment. Eating mushrooms now heal you for more health and increase your damage and crit chance for a little while. Additionally, piercing projectiles spawn a cloud of mushrooms on their first hit, every so often. Reworked Tiki Enchantment. It now increases whip range and makes whip damage scale based on your strongest damage type, instead of just summoner, making it a great multi-class accessory. Additionally, whipping projectiles makes them do extra damage on their first hit. Reworked Spectre Enchantment. It's now an upgrade to the Fossil Enchantment and gives you a revive. When you die, you turn into a ghost, as well as spawn a bunch of spirits, which you can collect to heal and send into enemies to deal damage. Reworked Solar Enchantment. It now charges up energy while attacking, building up damage reduction. When you stop attacking, it releases the energy in a large damaging solar burst. Reworked Vortex Enchantment. Attacking faraway enemies will cause a big piercing laser to fire, on a cooldown. Reworked Nebula Enchantment. It occasionally replaces a projectile with a nebula shot, which homes in and creates a nebula booster on contact. I'm done with accessories forever. Time for uncategorized tweaks and additions. Added Voltaic Chain, a whip dropped by Destroyer. Whipping your minions spawn chain lightning towards enemies. Its old form, the Destroyer gun, can still be obtained via Shimmer. Reworked Destruction Cannon and renamed it to the Destroyer. It is now a functional upgrade to Voltaic Chain, making whipped minions fire lasers, and, after 20 strikes, detaches as a controllable destroyer, as per its namesake. Added the Umbra Regalia, a post-Abominationn upgrade to the Prisma Regalia. If you ever wanted a close-range melee option for Mutant that wasn't nanocore, you've got it now. Reworked the Slime King Slasher. It no longer shoots spikes, and instead is a close-range sword with a custom swing, creating small slime explosions on hit. Reworked Slime Slinging Slasher and gave it a similar custom swing style, but this time with projectiles. Ooh. Added a cooldown bar to show charge-up effects from specific items and accessories, as well as cooldown times from stuff like parries and etc. Improved Masochist Mode, a lot, via a whole bunch of tweaks. It should now be more fair across the board, and be like Eternity Mode, but harder. Updated a lot of visual effects across the mod. To cover some specific ones I can think of that are neat, reworked Abominationn's arena border into a solar eclipse, and gave him a big sword made of fire. Killed the circling eyes dead in Mutant's arena, and replaced it with much less distracting stuff. Energy stuff. Gave Deviant, Abominationn, and Mutant custom HP bar colours. It's small, but neat. Gave Destroyer a fun little headlight telegraph. Changed Wall of Flesh's death ray to be baller, and gave him a fiery aura. There's more than these if you go looking, but the ones I mentioned are notable to me. Added a bunch of sounds as replacements for some vanilla sounds which were used before. Very welcome change. Reworked Swarms. Previously you'd have to fight 100 bosses of the same type to get their Energizer, letting you craft post-Moonlord weapon upgrades. Swarms have been renamed to Energized, and now are comprised of one very strong, very fast boss. Much less messy. Kinda. But difficult in a new way. Changed and removed some presences of debuffs across the game, some of which being, changed the debuffs inflicted by the Lunar Pillars to only reduce your other class damage, not completely disable it. The Moonlord fight remains unchanged in that regard, but you at least have some flexibility for pillars. Being on the Underground Hallow no longer flips your screen. Thank God. It's now replaced with the Illuminated debuff, which increases damage dealt by and against you when in well-lit areas, as well as increasing brightness and spawn rate overall in the biome. Deerclops doesn't freeze you anymore with its projectiles. Gone are the days of being hit like 4 times because you got pricked by a spike. Tangentially related to that, a few more environmental changes have been implemented to make the world a bit more interesting to traverse. Tweaked a few enemies, giving some new abilities, or just playing with stat numbers, you know the deal. Well, that just about covers a chunk of the update. We'd be here forever if I actually went into much detail, so I recommend you to go play the update yourself if you want to find out more. Hold on, I wasn't subliminal. Anywho, my job here is done. See y'all in 2021 Fargo years.